Dom here. Welcome back, everyone. WLFE-DB, BB3 TV also hosting tonight, too, as well. We are here. We are now. It is my first show back with WLFE-DB, and it is only fitting tonight. Ted Van Son, he brought me in to the network, showed me the ropes, and I appreciate him so much. He gave me my start, and is only so fitting 1 year later that he is my guest tonight on my first show back. Tonight we'll be talking about his book, Think Outside the Paranormal Box, right here. We're going to let Ted talk about it. He has his name up right now. I see it, author Ted Van Son, which is fitting. And when I go into my paranormal investigations, I use this guideline often because it's just amazing. So, as I say, without further ado, let's bring in the guest.
Hey, Dom.
Ted, how are you, my friend?
Tired, but I'm here. I'm good.
I know you just did your show. Before we start the show, I want to say something to you in front of the world. You are one amazing person. We talk a lot of shit to each other, like off, in text and phone calls. But I want to tell you, thank you for everything you do for me and everything you do for every host. You work hard, a lot of hours, and you make this network work. And I really appreciate you for that, my friend. And you have my utmost respect to the world. And thank you for what you do. Straight up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Indeed.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get into talk, my friend. Let's go into some comments. This is my first show back. We have Eric here. Hi, Dom. We have Tom here. Yo, yo, yo. Robert White. Hi, Dom. What's happening, my friend? Chanel. What's happening? Ted's book should be most for everyone just starting in the paranormal. Absolutely. And we're going to get into this. Bob Burnell. How are you? There's Barry. Hello, Barry. Good seeing you again. All right, so let's talk about this book. Ted, I read this book, and it's absolutely one of my favorite books. And going into paranormal investigations, this is something that I use in all my investigations now.
Right. Well, it's a pot awful. There is no expert in the field.
Sure.
Never has been, never will be. There's just people that have had experience that other people haven't had. That's all.
Yeah.
Been doing this for a long time, but imagination is more important than knowledge. That's one of the first things that I put in the book because your knowledge is limited. You always have to learn, and you have to get out there and just keep learning. That's the first thing with the paranormal is going in knowing that you don't know everything. And you have to keep building. You have to keep learning every single day. Nobody has all the answers. We don't know if we can't even tell you a ghost really exists. All we can tell you is that all this stories, all the stuff that is out there, is there's no answers for them. Most of them are personal experiences. They're just personal experiences, period.
Yeah.
That's it.
I get it. I'm going to go through this comment. I mean, this actually kind of made me laugh. I don't know who this is. Who's the Fred Durst guy? It's my new Lamb of Godhead. But all right. I'm Dom, by the way. Been here a year. Plenty about the community. I like your background there, Dom. Thank you. What is the most important part? Nope. Not answering that. Not knowing is a spice of life. Do you believe in ghost children? Yes, I do believe in ghost children. There. However, though, all right, let's get into some comments or some actual talk about this. Ted, I ghost hunt, and what I kind of use. I don't really. I I like the scry mirrors, Ouija boards, stuff like that. I do believe in the paranormal. I can't prove it as I go, but as I read through your book, you made me realize that you don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on equipment. You have things like balloons, bells that you can hang on cabinets and stuff like that. I mean, this was an eye opener for a paranormal investigator coming from the older world.
Yeah, well, the paranormal, I mean, today with the way things are, there's a lot of gadgetry out there. There's stuff that people invent to quote unquote catch a ghost or help catch a ghost. But back in the day, early to late 60s and the 70s, there wasn't any of that stuff. So you had to use the stuff that you had around you, stuff that was in your closet, stuff that was in your drawers, stuff like that. I mean, uh, you had to use what you had on hand,
Sure.
you know.
And
That's it.
compelling evidence, when you go on these investigations with your book, with what you choose, what is your go-to from your book if you were to choose one of the scenarios?
There isn't one. It depends on where I am, what I'm doing, um, what the location, quote unquote, says is happening. A lot of times I just go in with a flashlight, a digital recorder, something like that. You know,
Yeah,
don't normally take a lot of equipment with me. The stuff for today just it doesn't impress me much. I mean, the EMF detectors are depending on what you get. It's all hit and miss. You can't prove that a ghost is made out of EMF. We have no idea. Um, a lot of the stuff that's out there is just guess. It's just the best guess. You
for
know.
sure.
Yeah, the
Um,
majority of the stuff that we deal with are I would say 90%, 95% of what we deal with is personal experience. That's it.
yeah. All right. Hold up. Hold up there. All right. Ted, give me a second. I see something here. Um, we're not doing this on my first show. I will only take people who are respectful to this book, respectful to my guest, and respectful to my show as well. So anyone with negative comments, I don't play. So take your comments somewhere else, and I'll say that straight up. Anyway, here we are. There's Antonio. That's my homie from Jersey. So he's an actual paranormal investigator. Ted, we met him at Gettysburg. He was on my show that night or the day of. So we were talking about that. So let me ask you the same question I asked him. What is the one thing that you made a mistake at in the paranormal investigation world? That you learn from.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, I want to go back with that question. I want to go back to the people that actually started researching ghosts and the unknown way back when, because um, it's just it's they made mistakes. That there was no handbook, there was nothing out there, and there still isn't to tell you what a ghost is.
Mm-hmm.
So through trial and error, most everything's you have to try with the knowledge that you have, and you will make mistakes, and that's what you learn from. So that's where it comes down to. A lot of people when they first start out, like I did, you have to find a way to record what's happening. So back then, you would have a big, cassette recorder that you would have to carry around, and for me, it was noisy. Those things record every noise, whether it be you walking with it. It's worse. Those things were a lot worse than what you have today for recording. But my mistake is probably in the beginning not keeping my um, records the best. When I first started out, I was like everybody else. I was just out there.
Yeah.
Um, Doing my best to catch a ghost, I guess, and I didn't keep my records in order the way I should have. And that's the problem with a lot of new people when they get out there.
I guess as we all do, as far as paranormal investigators. There's my good family right there. Carol, how are you? Um, Samuel is asking, is this live? Absolutely, it's live. It says live up top. Um, but yeah, all right. So Ted, going through the paranormal, what made you write this book?
Well, I wrote the book because there's a lot of the old school stuff that was left behind that people didn't realize. I mean, they were on out spending all this money on digital things that were created today, and you just don't have to have it. So I just kind of put some of the things from back in the day in the book. Things
Sure.
that take the human out of the elements of ghost hunting. Um, that's why. You know.
Yeah. Um, that one's gone too. All right, so let's see this. They were innovators. They only had what they had and have nothing to base it on. You know what? I believe that's a good fact right there. Like when I talked about the bells, the ribbons with the wind, as you had said in the book itself, that it's good to have AVP and video to find these things. But we don't have them. I mean, you could almost journal it too, right? As they would have in the past.
I guess so. I mean, if you look at some of the um, record keeping of Dr. Hans Holzer or even the Warrens, I mean, they themselves made mistakes, and they have literature laying around that you know uh, in books and so on and so forth. If you read their books and their information, you can get some of that stuff. You know,
Mhm.
so record keeping is very very tedious work and boring, but you have to. I mean, that's the only way so that you can gather your evidence and move forward.
Mhm. So, Ted, I'm more I'm more into proving the fake from the truth. That's what Chanel says. I'm more proving the fake from the truth. And that's why I respect Kenny Biddle that much. When I met him at these conventions, he actually, will speak to somebody and you know, speak about he feels about a situation. He's a skeptic all the way through. I mean, Ted, how do you feel? You're a skeptic too, as you and I have talked many times.
Well,
I'm
there's things
trying to
that I
get that
just
out
can't
there.
accept. I mean, I won't. If somebody says their house is haunted, I won't tell them that because I can't go on somebody else's word. I've got to do my experiments to try and figure out what is actually being caught and what's being seen there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, they're personal stories. That's pretty much it.
More sure. Let's see what Barry has to say. That's an important one. Probably most spirits would fear being around this new gadgetry that we take on ghost hunting. Yeah, I do
I
too.
don't know
I don't.
about that. I mean, you have to think about it. Like over in England, um, when all that started, they've been seeing ghosts and stuff like that for hundreds of years. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's like when people go over there and they say, so let's say they go to Ireland and the ghost that they caught speaking English. To me, if it was that old of a ghost, it would be talking in Gaelic or talking in the Irish tongue. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not in
English.
not in English. But
Yeah.
that's my theory. That's what I believe. But
I've always thought about that, Ted. Like when ghost hunters go overseas and everything's in English, like it's not. It shouldn't be all that way. You would think that you would get different languages. That's why I said in all ghost hunts you should probably have somebody who speaks different languages on all aspects of it and go into the house and actually say this and get those on EVPs, because the EVPs is one of my uh favorite
as an
devices to go
evidence,
with.
the problem is
Yeah.
even with the EVPs, you can't prove that they're
Right.
where they're from. I mean, on the science level, and that's why they call this, pseudoscience, is that it's not it's not in an environment where we can control. So there's nothing that we can do that proves that any of it is real.
Yeah.
It's not like a lab, you know. Um, a lab, you can control everything in the heat, the temperature, the moisture, and all that stuff. But when you're doing a house, you know, when you're doing a real investigation, you can't. There's no way to make it a controlled environment.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so how do you feel about these shows that are making big bucks on this? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's entertainment. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the things that with the shows, it has brought to light some of the older generation that's doing ghost hunting and stuff. So it kind of gives them a little more exposure. It brought people to the paranormal. You know what I mean? So the shows give it, you know, more awareness, you know, to the average person, you know.
Sure. Yeah. I'm reading these comments right now. Actually getting kind of aggravated, but let's see. Say if I want to speak, oh, that's fine as well. Much respect as possible. All right, so Eric has that to say right there. One thing I had tried was if something to say, I will point to the device like an audio recorder and say if I want you to speak, or if you don't want to speak, that's fine. Much respect as possible. I think that's important, right? I mean, you don't go into friggin'.
Yeah, there is no device that's 100% and never will be.
All right, Ted.
Yeah, I can't.
All right, I'm this close.
Yeah, I can't. You know, these guys are all haters. They're from
Yeah.
that.
I'm this close
I
to losing my fucking patience, and I'm gonna say
I
this on
don't.
WLFE-DB right now. I know you to death, and for this guy to say all that type of shit, which I'm not gonna repeat, it's fucked up. And you know what, dude? Get a motherfucking life. This is my first show back with somebody who gave me a fucking opportunity, and you're pulling this fucking bullshit, dude. Go fuck yourself. I'm ending the show right now, and no one's gonna get a fucking show out of Ted tonight. I respect this fucking book. Go fuck yourself. I'm ending the show. Ted, thank you for everything you do.